Hello everyone. Welcome to Tea Coffee Talks. I'm Angeline, and today we're putting your brain to the test. Have you ever had a memory that felt so real? You could recall the scene, the sounds, even the emotions, only to later find out that reality doesn't match up? What if I told you your memory might not be as reliable as you think? And even crazier, what if someone or something has been secretly altering your memories without you even realizing it? Today, we're diving into one of the most mind-bending, mysterious, and reality-shaking topics: memory. Ready to have your perception of reality flipped upside down? Let's get started. Do you remember when Nelson Mandela passed away? It seems like a simple question, right? But if you do a quick search online, you'll stumble upon a chilling phenomenon. Thousands of people are absolutely convinced that Mandela died in a South African prison in the 1980s. What's even weirder? Countless people vividly recall seeing news reports about his funeral, complete with TV broadcasts, heartfelt speeches from world leaders, and even discussions with their own family about his passing. Their memories are detailed, emotional, and incredibly real, but there's just one problem. That never happened. Nelson Mandela actually lived until 2013 and even served as South Africa's president in the 1990s. If you remember his death correctly, congratulations. But what if I told you that your memory might not be as reliable as you think? Let's put it to the test. Question 1. The Kit Kat logo. You've probably eaten Kit Kat before, right? Well, try to remember its logo. How does it look? A. Kit Kat with a hyphen in the middle. B. Kit Kat, no hyphen. Got your answer? Well, here's the truth. Kit Kat has never had a hyphen in its logo. If you swore it did, welcome to the club. Question 2. Snow White's famous line. In Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the evil queen looks into her mirror and says, A. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? B. Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all? Which one do you remember? The correct answer is B. If you feel a little unsettled, you're not alone. Final question. The Monopoly Man's glasses. If you've ever played Monopoly, you must remember the game's mascot, the rich, well-dressed Monopoly Man. What kind of glasses does he wear? A. A single monocle, classic rich businessman look. B. A pair of round glasses. Well, here's the shocking truth. He wears neither. The Monopoly Man has never worn a monocle or any kind of glasses at all. Did your memory just betray you? What's happening here? Why are so many people convinced of things that never happened? So, what's really behind the Mandela Effect? Is reality glitching, or is something far stranger at play? Let's explore 3 theories, and by the end of this, you might just start questioning everything you thought you knew. Theory 1. Parallel universes. Are you from another world? Have you ever considered that the Mandela Effect might not just be false memory, but rather a crossing of information between parallel universes? Before we dive into that, let's first understand what parallel universes actually are. When we talk about parallel universes, we're discussing a mind-blowing theory that beyond our reality, there may be countless other worlds, each with different histories, different possibilities, and even different versions of you. Sounds like science fiction? Well, it's not just a movie plot. The idea is actually rooted in quantum mechanics, and it has gained serious scientific support over the years. In 1957, physicist Hugh Everett proposed the many worlds interpretation, MWI, a radical theory that suggests every time a choice is made, reality splits into multiple different timelines, each one playing out a different possibility. Let's say you're deciding between toast or eggs for breakfast. According to this theory, the universe would split into two versions. In one universe, you eat toast. In another, you eat eggs. Both universes exist, running parallel to each other, but you're only conscious of one of them. If this theory is true, then the universe is constantly branching out into endless alternate realities, and some of them might be eerily close to ours. What if, in one universe, Mandela actually died in the 1980s, but you somehow shifted into a different universe where he lived until 2013? What if the Kit Kat logo really did have a hyphen in one universe, but not in this one? What if the Monopoly man once wore a monocle, just not in this version of reality? This sounds crazy. But if parallel universes really exist, how can we ever be sure that we've always been in the same one? Could it be that our world is constantly shifting, like a misty landscape that changes shape without us realizing? And the only hints we ever get are these strange inconsistencies in our memories, which is the Mandela Effect. Have you ever experienced a moment where you were absolutely certain something happened one way, but the world told you otherwise? If so, you might have just glimpsed a crack between universes. Theory 2. Time travelers altered reality. Time travel has always been a fascinating topic in science fiction, but many real scientists believe that, under the right conditions, it might not be impossible. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time is not a fixed, unchangeable stream. Instead, it can be stretched, bent, and even folded under extreme conditions. In Newtonian physics, time is like a straight river, always flowing in one direction. But Einstein changed everything. He showed that time is relative. If you were to move close to the speed of light, or orbit near an ultra-powerful gravitational field, like a black hole, your time would slow down compared to the outside world. This means that you could travel through space for just a few years, but return to Earth thousands of years later. This might sound like science fiction, but scientists have already proven this effect through experiments. Astronauts on the International Space Station actually age slightly slower than people on Earth, though the difference is incredibly small. Throughout history, there have been bizarre cases that make people wonder. Has someone already mastered time travel? In the 1928 silent film The Circus, there is a strange scene. A woman appears to be holding a mobile phone to her ear while walking. Mobile phones didn't exist back then. Her posture, the way she moves her lips as if she's talking to someone, it all looks just like modern-day phone usage. Could she be a time traveler who accidentally brought future technology into the past? Another mystery. There's a photograph from 1940 that shows a man standing in a crowd, wearing modern sunglasses, a printed t-shirt, and holding what looks like a camera, completely out of place in his surroundings. Compared to everyone else in the photo, he looks like he walked straight out of the 21st century. Coincidence? Or a real-life time traveler caught on camera? Now, let's go one step further. What if time travelers have already altered our history? Imagine this. A time traveler went back to the 1980s and did something that prevented Mandela's death in prison. In their original timeline, Mandela died in the 1980s, and that's why so many people remember seeing news of his funeral. But in the timeline we live in now, Mandela survived and became president, and only a few people still retain memories from the old reality. Could time travelers be responsible for other Mandela Effect cases? Did they slightly adjust history, leaving only fragmented memories behind? The human brain and collective false memories. Of course, the most scientific explanation for the Mandela Effect is that human memory is simply unreliable. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus has conducted extensive research on false memories and discovered something shocking. Memories can be created, modified, and even implanted. Here's how. Firstly, social influence. When an incorrect memory spreads through media, movies, or the internet, people start to believe they remember it too. Secondly, the brain fills in gaps. When we forget details, our brains automatically fill in missing information with something that seems logical, like assuming Kit Kat had a hyphen because it looks right. Finally, media misleading us. Some movies, books, and articles contain incorrect information, and if we see it enough times, we start accepting it as fact. In one study, researchers showed people a video of a car crash, then asked two groups different questions. Group A was asked, "Did you see the two cars bump into each other?" While Group B was asked, "Did you see the two cars smash into each other?" Using two different verbs, bump and smash, to subtly influence their perception. A week later, many participants in Group B falsely remembered seeing shattered glass, even though there was no broken glass in the video. If memory can be altered so easily, could that be what's happening with the Mandela Effect? No matter which theory you believe, parallel universes, time travelers, or faulty memory, the Mandela Effect raises a chilling possibility. If reality has been altered, would we ever truly notice? If one day you realize that something you distinctly remember is suddenly different from what the world tells you, would you trust your own mind? Or would you believe reality? Or maybe we shouldn't trust anything at all. And this is just the beginning of today's topic. Now let's ask a question that might make you a little uncomfortable. If our memories can be rewritten, can we still trust reality? Let's take a chilling real-life case to illustrate just how unreliable human memory can be. It was in July 1984, a late summer night in North Carolina, USA. A 22-year-old college student named Jennifer Thompson was at home when a stranger broke into her apartment and attacked her. Terrified but determined, Jennifer focused on memorizing the attacker's face, etching it into her mind so that she could later identify him. Days later, the police arrested a few suspects and asked Jennifer to identify the attacker from a set of photos. And this is where everything went wrong. During the photo lineup, an officer casually asked, "Which one looks the most like him?" Sounds harmless, right? But here's the problem. This subtly implied that the real attacker was definitely among those photos. Jennifer wasn't completely sure, but after some hesitation, she picked a man named Ronald Cotton. What happened next sealed his fate and Jennifer's false memory. After her choice, the police showed her a composite sketch that looked similar to Ronald Cotton. This reinforced her belief. She started thinking, yes, this must be the guy. Later, at the police station, Jennifer was shown a video recording of herself picking Cotton as the suspect. Watching this again and again made her more convinced that she had made the right choice. During the trial, police officers subtly reassured her. Their body language and tone confirmed that she had picked the right guy. By the time she took the stand, she was 100% certain. She confidently pointed at Cotton and declared, "It's him. I will never forget that face." The jury believed her. Ronald Cotton was sentenced to life in prison. Fast forward to 1995. 11 years later, DNA technology had advanced, allowing police to re-examine old evidence. The results? The real criminal was someone else, a man named Bobby Poole. Jennifer had sent the wrong man to prison for 11 years. Jennifer refused to believe it. For over a decade, she had been absolutely sure about Cotton's face. She had relived the memory countless times, reinforcing it over and over. Years later, Jennifer and Ronald Cotton became unlikely friends. She even co-wrote a book with him titled Picking Cotton, detailing her experience. In one interview, she admitted, "I finally realized that memory isn't like a camera. It's more like an unreliable scriptwriter." This psychological phenomenon is called suggestive memory. Scientists have discovered that our memories are not fixed. They are like soft clay, easily molded by external influences. So, how our brains trick us. 1. through suggestive influence. If someone repeatedly tells us something is true, our brain starts reconstructing the memory to match. 2. Through misattribution. When we forget details, our brain fills in the blanks, but it doesn't always fill them in correctly. 3. Through memory reconstruction. Each time we recall a memory, our brain doesn't just replay it, it rewrites it. In other words, every time we remember something, we change it slightly. Jennifer wasn't lying. Her brain had been tricked into believing a false version of reality. Imagine this. You are very sure that when you were a kid, your family had a white cat. But then, years later, your parents tell you, "We never had a cat." So, why do you remember it so vividly? The soft fur? The way it used to curl up on your bed? Turns out, your neighbor had a white cat that used to wander into your house. Over time, your brain merged those memories into your own childhood. You were never lying. Your mind simply created a false truth. So, can we trust our own brains? If our own memories can be altered so easily, what else might we be getting wrong? If our reality can be rewritten by a single suggestion, then what even is truth? And most importantly, if we can't trust our own minds, can we trust anything at all? So far, we've seen how memory can be altered. But what if I told you some memories can be completely deleted? This next story takes us deeper into the darkest corners of the human mind, where memories don't just change, they vanish. In the mid-20th century, the CIA ran one of the most controversial and terrifying psychological experiments in history, MK Ultra. Its goal? To control human thoughts, erase memories, and even create mind-controlled agents. The project ran from the 1950s to the 1970s, and what they did was so disturbing that the US government later tried to erase all traces of it. But they failed. In 1975, the Church Committee, a US Senate investigative team, uncovered MK Ultra's existence. Then, in 1977, the New York Times published a damning report, forcing the US government to admit the program was real. And in 1994, President Bill Clinton publicly apologized, admitting that the US government had secretly experimented on its own citizens without their knowledge. But by then, the damage was done. One of the most horrifying cases involved a test subject known only by his code name, White Mouse. After being subjected to experimental drugs, electroshock therapy, and psychological conditioning, White Mouse emerged from the experiment as a blank slate. He forgot his name. He forgot his past. He even forgot how to speak his native language. The CIA had successfully erased his identity. His entire sense of self had been wiped away like chalk on a blackboard. We've seen cases where memories can be altered and even completely erased. But why does this happen? Is it a biological survival mechanism, an effect of external manipulation, or something even stranger? Let's explore 3 possible explanations. The soul's defense mechanism. Our first explanation sounds a little mystical. Many spiritual traditions, esoteric philosophies, and religious beliefs suggest that memory is not just a biological function, but something far more profound, a higher dimensional energy. According to this theory, when a person undergoes extreme suffering, near-death experiences, or unbearable trauma, some higher force, perhaps God, the laws of the universe, or the soul itself, steps in to lock away these memories, sealing them in the darkest corners of consciousness, as if they never existed. This isn't ordinary forgetting. It's more like a soul-level defense mechanism. In Buddhist philosophy, it is believed that memories do not reside in the brain, but in a deeper, universal consciousness called Alaya Vijnana, the storehouse consciousness. Alaya Vijnana functions like a cosmic database, storing not only all the experiences of your current life, but also those from past and future reincarnations. However, when a person goes through unimaginable suffering, this consciousness locks away those memories to protect the soul from being overwhelmed. These memories aren't lost forever. They are merely buried deep within the subconscious. Some advanced meditators have reported that during deep meditation, they suddenly recalled memories they never knew they had. Some even describe remembering their past lives. Could this be a sign that Alaya Vijnana momentarily unlocked? In Western esoteric traditions, a similar concept exists, the Akashic Records. This is believed to be an energetic record of all events, thoughts, and emotions that have ever existed. According to some spiritual researchers, when a person endures extreme trauma, the Akashic Records shield them from certain memories to prevent their soul from shattering. This could explain why some survivors of near-death experiences, NDEs, claim that they saw their entire life play out before them in another realm. But when they returned to reality, they couldn't recall the most painful parts. Second explanation, the brain's garbage disposal system. You might think forgetting is a flaw, but from a neuroscientific perspective, forgetting is actually a survival advantage. Imagine this. What if your brain remembered every single second of your life? Every face you saw, every word you heard, every minor detail? It sounds useful until you realize that it would be absolute torture. There's a rare condition called hyperthymesia, where people remember every detail of their lives in extreme accuracy, but instead of being a gift, it's a curse. Their minds are flooded with unnecessary information. They struggle to focus because they can't forget irrelevant details. They suffer from high levels of anxiety, depression, and even mental breakdowns. So how does the brain prevent this from happening? Modern neuroscience has discovered that our memories function not like a camera, but like a constantly updating computer system. When a memory is not frequently used, the brain marks it as junk data and deletes it. If a memory is too painful and threatens survival, the brain forcibly formats it, sealing it away in deep unconscious storage. This process is called synaptic pruning. The brain actively removes unnecessary neural connections to make room for information that's more important for survival. But sometimes this system overprunes, erasing crucial memories, especially ones tied to trauma. One documented case involved a POW, prisoner of war, who endured brutal torture in a concentration camp. When he was finally rescued, his family showed him evidence of his imprisonment. But he couldn't remember anything. He denied ever being captured. His mind had erased 3 entire years, not because he was lying, but because his brain had deleted the memory to protect him from emotional collapse. His doctors believed this wasn't ordinary amnesia, it was a survival mechanism. His memories still existed, but they were locked away, sealed in the darkest depths of his subconscious. There is a third possibility. What if our memories aren't just lost, but taken from us? In controlled deep hypnosis experiments, researchers have found that hypnosis can make people forget specific events, like pressing a delete button in the brain. Hypnosis can even implant false memories, making people believe things happened when they didn't. Remember MKUltra, the CIA's infamous mind control experiment? One of their classified projects aimed to erase memories through hypnosis. In one of the most disturbing cases, a test subject was hypnotized to forget their real identity, reprogrammed to believe they were someone else, and left with no recollection of their past life. If such methods existed decades ago, imagine what modern technology, AI, and neuroscience could do today. Could some of our memories have already been modified without us even realizing it? So, what if our forgotten memories were never lost but stolen? At the beginning of this discussion, we questioned, why do so many people remember things that never happened? Why do we trust false memories so easily? Why do some people's memories completely vanish? Now, we see that memories can be altered, fabricated, or completely erased. But that leads us to one final unsettling question. If memories can be so easily rewritten, how do we know that the reality we remember is the real one? Your memory may not be as reliable as you think. Some memories might be altered by your own brain, just like in the Ronald Cotton case. A false belief so strong, it sent an innocent man to prison. Some memories might be locked away by your soul's defense mechanism, shielding you from trauma too painful to bear. And the scariest possibility? Some memories might have been erased or implanted by external forces without you even realizing it. So the next time you recall a clear, vivid memory, ask yourself, are you sure it actually happened? Or is it possible that your memory has already been rewritten? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode of TA Coffee Talks.